Alrighty, we've been doing this series on surviving a friendship breakup. I'm doing this series because I recently went through a friendship breakup of my own where I was the one who was dumped, for lack of a better word. Sounds so painful. It was. But yeah, she had the right to decide that that wasn't a friendship that she wanted to continue. And oh my word, how painful is that? So I've talked a lot about how real the pain is of breakups. All of our circumstances are obviously different. And yet, throughout this whole series, I hope that your pain feels validated. I hope that there's some tips on what you can kind of learn and take away with you as you're processing it, and maybe even some steps to help repair and save some of our friendships from the actual breakup. But in this video, I wanted to share some of the things I did that I credit for helping me survive the breakup or recover from it myself. And so in this case, the friendship couldn't be salvaged, and it was more of a matter of, now how do I go on? And I would say right off the bat, loss is so prevalent. So validate the loss, feel the loss, experience the loss. I said in an earlier video, and I'll say it again, I think it's always important to write down all the losses, nuance it out. I lost the ability with somebody who has this memory with me, or who does these activities with me, or the idea that we were going to go do this together. We lost that dream, or we lost what she fed in you, what she affirmed in you, what she saw in you. Those are all little losses. Those are all symbolic of different things. You lost having somebody just to call and go to the movies with, maybe. You lost, what did you lose? And so write it down. What did it symbolize to you? What was it actually tangibly? How does that affect your schedule? And it's important to do this because sometimes I think we move past loss so much, and we are afraid that if we actually feel it or we sit with it, we'll get stuck there, or that, and that's not true. It actually really helps to just go into the loss and to feel it, to name it that, and to say, yeah, that really hurts. I loved her. I loved our friendship. I loved so much about it, and it hurts to lose it. To be able to say that is such a place of strength and such a place of maturity, to be able to sit with pain and to feel it and to name it and to see that it's connected to the loss of something that you valued. And I cried. Just the whole grieving process. It's a loss. So I guess without not reiterating it, so give yourself permission to grieve, and that takes a while, right? So grieving is not an instantaneous process, and so be gentle with yourself and recognize the loss of this huge relationship in your life. The second thing that surprises some of us, and for some of us it comes all very easily, is anger. And that's a part of the grieving process as well. And that's separate from loss. I think it's important to say sadness and grief is the response to loss. And then there's anger, and anger can come from how she treated us. It can come from feeling betrayed by our expectations or our hopes of what we hoped she would do or say or be. It can come from if we actually fought, maybe, and so painful, hurtful words were said. And so whatever the case may be, undoubtedly anger comes up. And anger often sounds very blaming, and it's kind of a part of that is looking at the other person and putting the focus on them. And I think it's really important to feel the loss and to acknowledge the anger, to see if there were boundaries that were violated, to see if there's anything you can learn to have done better, to have protected better maybe. And in many cases there isn't. And our goal in our friendships isn't just protecting everything all the time, right? We're not protecting our hearts, and that's part of the joy. So we do get hurt. And so part of the anger, the response to anger that I find most valuable is, where here do I need to forgive? Where do I need to forgive her? Where do I need to forgive me? And being able to write those things down is so helpful, to just be able to list out the things. I'm going to forgive her for this specific thing, for that specific thing, for those words that she said. The fact that, and sometimes when we get hurt, we start going back and looking at all the ways that friend wasn't a good friend to us in the past. And so sometimes it surprises us how much anger there can be there. And so just write it all down. I'm going to forgive her for that. I'm going to forgive her for that. I'm going to forgive her. I'm willing to forgive her for that. Well, you may not be there yet. I'm willing to forgive myself for X. I'm willing to forgive myself for not noticing there was a problem. I'm willing to forgive myself for noticing or for not being able to fix it. I'm willing to forgive myself for having good intentions but saying the wrong thing. I'm willing to forgive myself for, and just kind of making as long of a list as you can. At the end of the day, our goal here is to go through this process and not be a bitter person, not be a judgmental person, not be a blamey person. We want to be somebody who's processed our loss, who felt it, who owned it, who healed from it. We want to be somebody who forgave, who built those muscles up of forgiveness, who got better at forgiving, who used this as an opportunity to forgive myself more fully, to forgive her more fully, to practice forgiving other people for not being perfect, for not living up to every ideal that we have, for hurting and crushing our hopes, and for hurting our feelings. And so we forgive, and that's the response is, I'm going to forgive. I'm willing to forgive. And then I think the most important action next is for gratitude. This has been one of my long-standing tools when I've gone through divorce 15 years ago. I promised I would be grateful for something every single day of that year, even if it felt like I was losing everything. And I hold that promise whenever I'm in crisis, especially. Like, that's my lifeline. I am going to be grateful. I am going to find things about her to say thank you. I don't say it to her because she doesn't want to hear it, but I'm going to be grateful for her. I sat with, do I want to hide her stuff on Facebook, and I was like, no, I'm going to look at her life, and I'm going to be grateful for the positive experience that she's having. It's not my first response. Like, at first when I saw her picture, I would just feel pain, or sometimes I'd feel upset, or I'd feel just sad. And I had to say, nope, I'm going to be so grateful. I'm so glad that she's having that opportunity. I'm so grateful that she looks so happy. I'm so grateful that she has those friends. And I chose to just keep being grateful and expressing my gratitude for her life, being grateful for the memories. Every time I felt kind of raw, I would just say, yep, that represents how much she meant to me, and I'm going to be grateful for that. I'm going to be grateful for what we did have, and to make a list, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for how she said that one thing that one time that stayed with me forever. I'm grateful that she weighed in on that circumstance. I'm grateful that she went through that thing with me. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to do that thing for her. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to support her through that. I'm grateful for. And write those things down and hold that gratitude as much as you possibly can. So, grieving the loss, forgiving the anger, holding gratitude. I think these are tools that will get you through everything. And I'll just say in this situation, and to talk about it really carefully. I think there's a thin line between we don't want to suffer alone, and neither do we want to hurt her friendships with other people. Our goal in this situation should be to be somebody that if we needed to be in the same room together, that we could be, that she could count on me to be kind and civil, and likewise. And that we don't feel like that our egos don't need all of our friends to agree with us, that we don't need to talk bad about her. I invite you to, if there's one or two safe friends in your life who possibly don't know her, who you could say, would you help support me through this? And you're choosing cognizantly to help kind of share and be seen in that. I think that's healthy and that's beautiful, especially if they know that you're not just going and talking about it with everybody, but you're doing this in order to recover and to heal. Some of us are external processors, and we might need that. And most of all, even when we're talking with other people, even if we're mad at her, it's our job to still speak kindly of her. It's not our job to win them over. We're not processing just to make our egos feel better. So we're not there to just talk about how horrible she is and hope that they side with us. That's not processing. That's not growing. That's not maturing. Maturing means being able to say, this is really hard, and I'm trying to think this through, and help me see where I could have done better, and mean that and be open to the feedback, right? And how could I handle this better? Do you think I should write her back, or just, she said she doesn't want to talk to me anymore? Do I honor that, or do I respond to, do I want to try? And so we can invite the support, but do so with intention, do so with kindness, do so with the willingness to grow, not with the desire to just feel better and make people pick sides. That's never healthy, and that doesn't support those other friends. Those other friends will not think more highly of you and won't feel safer being in relationship with you. So share carefully and thoughtfully and kindly. And I think that if you do this, I think we can get through these things. It doesn't mean that we ever get to a place where we don't miss her, or that it's not still sad, but we do. Friendships ebb and flow, we recover, and there's so many other relationships out there that we can develop. So let's learn what we can from this one. Let's heal so much that we're not bringing unmet needs and blame and anger into future and other and present relationships. Let's do our job to get as healthy and as whole and as healed up as possible. Let's heal that injury so we can go back to exercising, right? Let's heal the heart so we can get back into loving relationships. That's our goal. Our goal is to be back in loving and supportive relationships, to stay connected to them, to keep developing them, to keep open and to be loving and to be ready for them. And so let's go through this heartache in such a way that our chances of experiencing more love on the other end of this and through this go up. That's the goal. So much, much love to you. When you're in the middle of this, I'm sharing with you on the other side of it, but it's not that far back that I can't remember. It is so painful. And I share this all from a place of humility and love, and welcome your own suggestions and your feedback and things you've learned along the way in the comments and stuff like that. So feel free to share with us what's working for you or what you need support around, and we are here for you. Much love to you.